Hello to all. If this is your first time, welcome aboard to the Life with Jay and Joe. And if you've come back to see us again, thank you for following us on this lovely, lovely journey of us.
Life with us.
Yeah. So I'm Joe, and this is Jay,
Hi, guys.
and this is Life with Jay and Joe. Today we're going to talk about open communication and how our communication has grown over the years, because it has changed a lot from when it first started.
Yes, and how important it is in any relationship or any kind of ship across the board: relationship, friendship, kinship, family ship, cousinship, all those ships.
Even if you're in a ship in the ocean,
Yeah,
you still need
communication
communication.
is important.
I know that was corny, but hey. But yeah, so we're just gonna go ahead and get started. But yeah, open communication is extremely important, and also it helps build a really strong bond when you have open communication, because without communication, you start feeling a lot of things that maybe you don't even need to feel if you just talked about it.
Yes, I feel like a lot of things, a lot of assumptions, a lot of thoughts, a lot of insecurities will be wiped away, or not necessarily wiped away, but laid to rest if you would just communicate. Communication is key.
Agreed. First, we're going to touch on honesty and transparency. We have both lied in the past, and I think it caused more issues once those lies came out, and which broke a lot of trust. And so it's best to just be truthful, be real. So like some issues we've had in the past, like so back in the day, years and years ago, in the first few years of us being a couple, there were multiple people that I had sexual encounters with that I lied about. We had conversations about it. I was like, no, we've never messed around. I just know this person, like we're just cool, but nothing ever happened sexually. And it didn't come out until maybe like 2.5 years ago when I finally fessed up and told him, which kind of is weird that it took me that long to fess up, but kind of like the conversation just never came up again. So I guess I feel like I never had a reason to talk about it. But then we were just having a conversation and it came up. And I told him, and surprisingly, he took it fairly well. I thought it was going to turn into a big argument. But that was kind of messed up on my part, because I could have just told him back in the day instead of keeping it like such a big secret, because clearly he was fine with it. And it was, before him. It wasn't like it happened after I met him. But still, I just didn't feel like I wanted to say it, because I also didn't want to look like I was just around sleeping with a bunch of people.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons why I was able to be okay with it is because we all have a past. I mean, I can't judge you for what you did in your past, because I have a past myself. And so whatever happened between you and whomever it was before me. I had nothing to, I was not in the picture. We didn't know each other, so I can't get mad about that. I mean, yes, I could have gotten mad because we spoke about it, you denied it, but at the end of the day, I mean, it is what it is. We've both lied about things. I don't think it would have been right for me to be mad because you lied about something when I lied too.
Yeah.
And for me, I think one of the situations that I could think of was when he and I first started talking. I was also talking to someone else, and came around Valentine's Day, and the other person that I was speaking with had took me on the trip, and at that time, while on the trip, he and I had not had communications, and he asked me about it, and I denied it, and then he ended up seeing something online, and so in that instance, we were not. I don't think we were like.
We weren't even like officially an item.
Yeah.
We were just like in the beginning stages.
Yeah. So I didn't even have to like
Yeah.
be like secretive about it. could have just said it, but I chose not to. And so I think that that kind of started us off in like a bad direction.
Yeah, because I feel like, so I've grown a lot where now I can let things go, but back then it was really hard for me to let things go. So even with that situation, it had already broke some of my trust, which is crazy because even after that, I still lied to him. But it's like, I think like that lie amongst like little other things that happened, it kind of like, it was made it hard for me to trust him fully. Which again, it's kind of weird because I also lie in different situations, but I didn't look at that as the same. So that's like a weird dynamic in itself. But I do feel like, if you can just have open communication with a person and just tell them the truth, I feel like it just makes the relationship stronger. Because one way I look at it is, so normally people tell their best friends their darkest secrets. Like they'll call their best friend on the phone, be like, "Oh, you wouldn't believe what just happened today," da 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 da, and all this stuff. But they'll be scared to tell the person that they're in a relationship with. Not everybody, but some people at least. That's how it used to be for me. Like I would rather go talk to a good friend of mine and tell them all my darkest secrets, but then I would want to tell the person that I'm calling, my lover or my husband or, if you have a wife or just your partner or whatever it is. And I feel like you got to get to the point where you can be that open with the person that you are with, because you should be able to be friends with that person, and that person also shouldn't be judging you.
Yeah.
You should feel comfortable being able to tell the person that you with anything.
Yeah, I think a key thing to that though, I think that's something that has to be done on both ends
Yeah.
because in order for somebody to feel like they can go to someone with the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, that other person has to make it easy for them to talk to be to for that person to come and tell them the information. Like in order, I can't, like, I'm not gonna go and tell my deepest darkest secrets to somebody who I feel like is gonna judge me or who I feel like is gonna have an opinion, a negative opinion on something. So I wouldn't be so free to tell them that. But if that other person, made it easy for me to talk to, or made it easy for me to feel like, okay, I know that he or she won't judge me, or I
Right.
know that he or she is not going to hold this over my head, it will be easier for a person to go and be like, hey, this, that, and the other, or this, that, and the third, instead of going to another friend. I could just go to this person because this
Yeah.
person is my confidant.
So I guess that goes to so you have to be comfortable with the person.
Yeah, you definitely have to be comfortable with the person. I would say 100% comfortable with the person, and trust the person also. That also plays a role in it as well.
Yeah, but the weird thing is, and I didn't think this way before, but I have a different thought process now, is, a lot of times when people are in like relationships, sex is unprotected. So you trust a person enough to have unprotected sex, but you don't trust a person enough to tell them something that you feel like they're going to judge you on, or you don't trust them enough to just tell them the truth.
Yeah.
But you trust them enough to have sex unprotected, and you believe that everything is good, but then you're scared to tell them something else.
Yeah.
Like, if you think about it, it's kind of weird. And I'm not trying to like say like people are wrong for that, because I did the same thing, but that's just a way that I think about it now. Like, I can have unprotected sex with you, but that I don't want to tell you something I did 15 years ago.
I think a lot of times. I think a lot of times, and this may sound weird, but I think a lot of times, sex doesn't come with emotion, or sex doesn't come with feelings. But when you start to tell people stuff, personal stuff, I think that kind of feelings and emotions kind of follow behind that.
I can get that. So it's almost like you're opening yourself up more.
Yeah, I think with sex, like you can have sex with 50 different people and feel
That's true.
nothing.
That's true.
But that one person you start to tell your deepest, darkest secrets to, like at the moment you start to be open and tell them your innermost thoughts, is the moment you're vulnerable. And
I
at
can see
that
that.
point, now you got something you can hold over my head.
I can see that. So I guess people just got to be like, you got to just be willing to, you know, be a friend with the person. Maybe that's what it. Maybe you have to become friends with the person that you're considering your partner or your life partner or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
And then once you start becoming friends, and you're more willing to, treat them like you would treat a friend, as in telling them things that
Yeah.
maybe you normally wouldn't.
Yeah, I think that's that should be like, I think stuff like that should come in steps. I think friendship should be first and then a relationship. But a lot of times a friendship is developed after they're in a relationship.
Yeah, because our relationship definitely didn't start off as friends.
Yeah.
Our relationship started off as, you're cute, I want to make out, and it went from there. And we jumped into a relationship like hella quick. We barely even knew each other, and we was already talking about like, we're just gonna go ahead and do it. And we moved in with each other like really quick, within a couple of months, maybe, right? Maybe 3 months at the most. And so we had a lot of learning to do. And I don't think we really became friends, like actually became friends, until maybe even years after. Because I think like, we were good, we were happy, but I don't think we really became like really good friends. Like right now, I think we're really good friends.
I agree.
I think it was more like, okay, well, we decided that we're gonna do this, we're together, and this is how it's supposed to be, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then we had a lot of issues, but then we became friends, and then I feel like a lot of issues kind of just went away.
Yeah. I think a lot of our issues was the kind of like the bruises of the getting to know,
Yeah,
because we had a lot of getting to know to do.
yeah, a lot of learning,
Yeah.
but we know each other now.
So the next topic that I want to kind of touch on is conflict resolution. I think conflict resolution came easier for me than it did him, and I think my perception of conflict resolution is, I always knew that we're not gonna agree on everything, and I always knew that a lot of times we'll have to agree to disagree, and I think the resolution part to that was being okay. You have to be okay with not being right all the time, if that makes sense. I think a lot of times the conflict comes, or people bump heads, when a person always want to be right about something. And I think when you get to a point where it's okay to be wrong, or you're not gonna always agree, or it's okay to agree to disagree, or it's okay to just like be like, you won, I don't want to do this. I think that'll solve a lot of conflict in a relationship.
So how do you think you deal with like conflict? Well, how do you think you dealt with conflict, say 10 years ago, to how you deal with conflict now?
10 years ago, conflict, like I take after my dad in the conflict side of things. Like my dad had a very quick temper, and a very bad attitude. Whereas I don't have a quick temper. I used to have a quick temper back in the day. I had a really quick temper, and I get mad about the most minute of things. Whereas now, I'm not easily mad, although I do get mad, and when I am mad, I get really mad, but I don't really get mad about a lot of things. A lot of stuff I just be like,
That's the actual move.
be like, girl, whatever. But when I do get mad, like, you'll know, Like you will definitely know that I'm mad, and it will show.
For me, so back in the day, even if I go back 10 years or even, 14 years when we first got together, like back in the day, the way I dealt with conflict was I would just shut down. Like I'm one of those people where once I feel like my feelings get hurt, I shut down. Like I just really just shut down. Or at least back then, like I didn't want to talk. I would do the whole silent treatment thing. Like we'll be in the same room and I wouldn't even speak to him. I wouldn't even acknowledge him. Um, I would wake up, leave the house, wouldn't give him a kiss because I would just like normally back then when I would deal with conflict, I would still be mad for days, and it took me a while to calm down. But I've learned to like not be that way. But now the way I think I deal with conflict is like I let things go a lot easy. Like even if something really irritates me, whereas before I would be mad for like days, now I'll be affected for maybe, a couple of minutes and I just be like, you know what, it's really not that serious. And then I just let it go, which is very different for me because it took me a while to be able to let things go. But I have been to like counseling and we've done couples counseling and we had a lot of conversations on our own. But the big thing for me was just learning how to let things go and just be like it's really not that serious. Like he's always been way better at letting things go, way quicker than I can. But now I feel like maybe we're closer to the same. Like cause I don't. I mean, do you feel like I hold things in for days now?
No, no, definitely not days. I think you still do it a little bit, but not days. I think now I think like you said, it's just like maybe minutes, maybe an hour or two or a couple of hours, but definitely not days. I think that you've gotten a lot better with that.
Yeah,
A lot.
definitely a work in progress.
Yeah.
But I've got a lot better. So since you guys have been listening to this story so far, I do want you to do us a favor and just hit that subscribe button because we're really just, giving y'all, all of us, completely no filter except for like trying not to curse. Like you're literally
Yeah.
getting like some deep conversations pertaining to our lives. So we just like you to just show us that you're interested by subscribing and liking, commenting, ask us
sharing.
questions and all that good stuff.
Whatever questions you have, feel free to drop them in the comments. We do read the questions with the comments.
I read every single
We
one.
do try and respond
We do respond to every single one.
to all of the comments. So if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, or anything you want us to answer, anything you want us to touch on, drop it down in the comments. We'll be right with ya.
Yep. Okay, so next I think we should touch on some effective communication techniques that I feel like work for us. So I feel like every relationship needs to have some techniques that helps out with their communication. Because you can try to have the best communication, but sometimes if you don't know how to go about to have that communication, it just wouldn't work. So this is something I learned in counseling. So a lot of times when we would get into like an issue or we would get into like a heated argument or just not even to a heated argument, maybe just like a disagreement that hasn't even got to the argument, but certain things I would say I know would make it get to an argument where it becomes a heated argument. So one thing I learned in counseling is I used to always, if I felt upset about something, I would always go to him and be like, you did this, you did that, da 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 da, put my finger all up here, like, why did you do this? Like I'm like his parent or something, like da 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 da. And so when I was in counseling, it was like you should never approach a situation going into it telling the person only what they did, only negative things that they did, because they're going to automatically get into defense mode. And then when they get into defense mode, then they're going to start, you know, battling you and then telling you stuff that you did that was wrong. And then that's when it turns into a big argument and nobody's really listening. So it's like you're just talking at each other, but nobody's really talking, I guess, with each other. So what I learned in counseling was like, if you know, if there's something you don't agree with, you go to it and be like, well, I just want to let you know when this happened, it made me feel this way. And it comes off a different way, because when you approach it like that, then the person don't feel so attacked. They kind of feel like, okay, well, what did I do to make you feel this way, compared to you did this to make me feel this way, kind of thing. Like, that makes sense?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so that's one technique that we use. Another technique that I use for our communication is, if by some chance I ever do get to the point where I'm like really upset or really bothered or anything like that, in counseling, a lot of things I learned from counseling is to walk away. Like, I never want to have a conversation with him when I'm really feeling a certain kind of way, because it may not be the best time to have that conversation. So either walk away or just tell the person, you know, I do want to talk about it, but just not right now. Let me, you know, collect my thoughts. Give me a minute. And then once you get to the point where you feel like you've calmed down and you've thought it over, then you go have the conversation. Because if you try to, at least from my past, from my experience, when I've tried to have a conversation when I'm upset or mad, it just comes off in such a negative way. And no matter what I say, it never comes out the way I'm trying to say it, because I'm just mad. So my tone is shows that I'm upset. So the tone is different. My facial expressions are different. And so even if I'm saying everything right, it comes off all wrong, just because of how I'm approaching the situation, because I'm in my feelings. So it's best for me to always wait until I calm down before I have a conversation that can get into, like, you know, that can really go there. Do you have any techniques?
I think effective communication for me would be allowing each other to get their points across. I know for me personally, when I have something I want to say, or if I feel very strongly about something and I'm trying to express that, and a person keeps talking over me, or not allow me to finish or express whatever it is that I'm trying to say, I think that just kind of like get my panties in a bunch, for lack of a better term.
Not panties.
Panties, yeah. So I feel like one way to have effective communication is by letting each other say whatever it is they have to say, express whatever emotions or feelings they need to express. And once they're done, then you go. But talking at the same time or over talking is just not going to help the situation. It's going to make the situation worse, because that's going to lead to yelling. It's going to lead to cursing. It's going to lead to a lot of bickering and back and forth, and it's just not going to work out.
I agree to that. I definitely agree to that, because we've definitely had issues where we were both talking, but neither one of us was actually listening. And it just made the conversation even more heated and 10 times worse than what it was. And then the crazy thing is, like, once we both calmed down and then we had the same conversation again, we're both saying the exact same things, but at this point, some kind of way we both understand it, because now we're both calm and we're listening, compared to a conversation we just had a day before where all we did was yell at each other because nobody was listening and everybody was just trying to make their point. So it's all about, like, you know, I definitely agree to that. You have to let the other person speak. So you have to listen and then talk. And, you know, that goes for both parties.
Listen with intent.
Yes.
The next topic that we want to touch on is supporting each other. So, supporting each other, while it may be with the smallest of things, but believe me, it goes a long way with the other person. And the way that we do that, or the way that I do that with him, is if I know that he's had a long day at work, or if I know he's had a long day with dealing with whatever the situation is, and I can see that, because a lot of times you can see when a person has had a long or a rough or a tough day. You can see it. It's written on their face. It's in their gestures. It's in their movement. It's in their tone. So my thing is, if I see or if I realize that he's had a long day, I will ask, what can I do to make it better? Like, how can I make you feel better? Or how can I help? Or how can I, what is it that I can do that will make your night or the rest of your day better? And I know that he likes food, so I will go and I will cook something for him. I will say, what would you like for me to cook, or what would you like to eat, or what is it that you want that I could do? So if he wants something, usually it's like fried something. So I'll go and I'll make him some fried salmon and fries, or I'll make him something, some fried salmon and
Making me hungry right now.
oops, whatever it is. But I know that he is happy when he's eating.
I get extremely happy when I eat.
So if that is what I have to do to make his day better, then that's just what I'm going to do. So I try to push him in getting certifications. I try to push him in going the extra mile when it comes to work and everything else that he does.
That's definitely true. And it's been more than a few times where I've had like a hard day at work, or, you know, I feel like, I should be getting a promotion, I didn't get it, or I feel like I've done so much stuff and something doesn't go right, or, you know, we have a big project going on and it's stressing me out. And even though I try to hide it, because I don't try to like show that I'm having a bad day, but I'm very hard at hiding my feelings. Like if anybody knows me, they can tell exactly when something's going on, because it's just really hard for me to hide it. So when he does like ask me like, "Are you okay?" A lot of times I'll just try to be like, it's fine, it's cool. But he'll be like, "No, like, are you okay?" And I'm like, "No, it's cool," just like trying to play it down. But he definitely does always try to do stuff to make me feel better. And it does actually make me feel better and get my mind off things to like start like, just thinking about something else. And it's like for him, I try to support him. Not even try, I do support him in whatever he do. He has a lot of skills. Like I've supported him as in like, he went back to school. I was like one of his biggest, cheerleaders. Whenever he want to do anything, I'm always pushing him to do it. Like he makes jewelry, I push him to do that. He's very creative. Like he does artwork. He like knows how to do like make clothes. He does a lot of stuff, and then sometimes I feel like I just need to give him that extra support. Like, hey, you're doing this good. Like, continue it. And I like to show him that, hey, I believe in you. I feel that you can be at the top of your game. And if nobody else has told you today, like, I think you're really good at what you do.
I think when I'm having a bad day, I kind of do what you do when you're mad. Like if I'm having a bad day, I just like get quiet, or just like
Shut down.
yeah, like because I mean when I'm having a bad day, it's easy for somebody to notice it, because I'll start to get quiet and I have this look on my face that is almost like irritation, but it's not irritation. It's just like I've had a long day. I just want to sit down. I want to drink, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's had some really bad days. So one example is there was his job that he ended up taking that was really stressing him out. and it had him working like insane hours, like what, 80 hours a week, maybe more. And he was really, really stressing out about it. And there was really nothing that I could do because we had recently moved into our house, and it needed, two incomes. And, I just was trying to like push him. It was like, just keep looking, something else will come up. But he was really stressed out for a couple of months, and it got really, really bad, like really, like to the point where he was in tears sometimes because he was just so stressed out. And sometimes I would talk to him on the phone and he was in tears because he just really wanted to quit that job, but he knew he couldn't because he knew we had to pay bills. So I was trying to like be supportive with him, and I was like, I made sure that when he came home, the house was clean. I was even, I think, trying to cook, which I'm not the best cook, but I was just trying to show him that I appreciate him and just trying to keep him in a positive mind. I'm not sure how much it helped because I think he was just really out of it.
Yeah.
But I definitely
helped.
tried.
It definitely helped, and I noticed that you were trying, and so that's the reason. Oh, that is one of the reasons it helped. But I think that that situation was in a very new beast in and of itself, a situation that I had put myself into, and so I kind of felt like um, I had to deal with it.
Yeah.
So I did, and it's gone.
Yes, it's gone. Everything is good now.
Woo! And the last topic I think we need to touch on is romance. I think, for one, I think sex and romance are two different things. I think you need to have a equal equation of both. Romance and sex is very important when it comes to any relationship, and that is same sex, opposite sex, homosexual, heterosexual, gay, lesbian, bisexual, whatever,
Non-binary.
non-binary, transgender, whatever. Romance is and sex is very important. It is not the most important thing, but it is an important part of a relationship. And I think the way that we keep a balance of those two is we kind of do what we need to do when we need to do it. And as far as the romance, I think affection is an important part of that. And when I say affection, it doesn't necessarily mean the kind of affection you might think. I mean, like, when I say affection, I mean like hugging, cuddling, kissing, touching, you know, spending time together, going on dates. I think all those things are really important parts of a relationship, and it helps with keeping the relationship healthy and strong.
I agree. I've definitely had my pitfalls when it came to, I guess, those sort of things. Like, I definitely think your sex drive is higher than mine, which I've got better. For me, I think the issue is because I'm busy a lot, which I definitely have got better at that than I used to be. So I definitely feel like the sex life has definitely picked up because I try not to be as busy. I try not to be as consumed with work than what I used to be. Because before I would just work. And that also meant that I was not making enough time for him. So the dating thing wasn't really happening a lot. There was a lot of things I was just like lacking on. But, we talked about it and he explained his feelings to me. And so I tried to get better with it. So now I feel like as far as like our sex life, it definitely is picked up, and we try to use, stuff to spice it up, whether it's toys, whether it's watching, porn together, whether it's, trying it in different parts of the house, just We haven't really role played yet, but I'm definitely open to that. Oh my, and I think I want to try handcuffs, by the way, but that's a whole other story. Um, but yeah, so I think, so I do think like romance is a big thing, sex and romance. I do think going on dates, because I know sometimes we do go on dates, and I actually enjoy it. I think dating is very important in a relationship. I don't think it should ever stop.
Yeah.
I know we don't go on a lot of dates, but I do think when we do go out, we have a good time,
Yeah.
and we're able to like spend time together outside the house. Because I'm really a homebody, and sometimes I'm like in the house way too long, so he kind of pulls me out. But lately, I've been trying to get out of the house a little bit more, and like affection, all that matters. Like kissing, um, just showing a person that you're still interested in them, that you still love them. Because if you think about it, normally when you first get with a person, like when you first start dating a person, those first couple of months, it's like you can't stop kissing, you can't stop touching, you can't stop hugging. You want to be with them 24/7. You want to be on the phone with them all day, all night. Everything is perfect. It's like you're in la la land. And then when you've been with somebody for like a year, it's not the same.
Yeah.
And then you're like, well, damn, what happened?
And it kind of slows down with time. Like the longer you with someone, the slower and the least amount of time is spent doing those things.
Yeah,
I think no matter how long you're with someone, dating is super important. You should always try to go on dates as much as you can.
yeah,
And I think it's not really like courting, but it's kind of like still being able to spice things up. Because, like, I think the key thing with that is not to allow room for anybody to feel unwanted or
yeah,
undesired.
yeah. Because I feel like when that happens, that is when you start hearing about people, stepping out.
Yeah.
Because when a person starts feeling like, okay, they're not wanted, they're not happy, they don't feel like the person is showing them any attention, that's when it's easy for somebody else to step in and fill that spot.
Yeah.
Because
Definitely.
if a person is not getting attention for 2 years and they feel like, you're not paying them any attention, then somebody else come along and they show them a little bit of attention, then they gravitate to that. Because it's like, oh, somebody's showing me attention.
This is what they've been missing.
And then next thing you know, they develop feelings for this person because they're giving them everything that they want at home. But since they're not getting it at home, somebody else is giving it to them. And then next thing you know, they fall for the person and they want to be with the person forever because that's the person that's giving them what they want.
Yep.
So I feel like you should always try to show the person the same energy that you showed them when you first got together. Of course, it's not going to be the same.
Yeah.
But at least put forth the effort to try to show the person that you want to be with them, that you still like them, that you still find them attractive, that you're still attracted to them. Just stuff like that. You still want to be around them. And I feel like for me, it wasn't that I didn't want to be around him or wasn't attracted to him. It's just that I let my work consume me to the point where I wasn't even really thinking about it. And I'm not saying that he never stepped out to cheat or anything. Luckily, it never got to that point. But I feel like if he would have never told me his feelings and held it in, and also if I wouldn't have been receptive to what you had to say to me and just stayed doing what I was doing, I feel like eventually it could have got to that point where you felt like, hey, well, damn, you're not going to show me any attention. I'll just go find somebody else to show it to. So luckily it never got to that point, but I'm glad that we was able to have that conversation and talk about it. And for him to express to me how he was feeling. And at first I was very kind of pushing back because I was like, okay, well, I'm working, I have to finish this for my job. It's not that big of a deal. Kind of pretty much let's play it down. But I had to like really just sit back and just really listen and just think like, okay, well, he's telling you what he feels. He's telling you how he feels. If I don't do something, then somebody else is going to do it for me. So I had to like snap out of it. And that kind of goes back to just having open communication, because if he would have never told me that, we may not even be here today. And because, you know, sometimes if you start talking to somebody else and those feelings, you know, click, sometimes those feelings can't turn off, and who knows what could have happened. So I guess everything just goes back to just being able to talk to a person and express how you feel, what you feel, and be able to talk about anything.
Yeah. Keep the lines of communication open at all times, and don't be and be willing to listen and understand and be receptive to what the other person has to say, and be willing to make change if change is needed.
So I think that's pretty much it. So
That's it for me.
basically, just remember communication matters, and you have to be able to have open communication if you want your relationship to strive.
Yes, yes. Open communication is important, and just be honest.
Yes.
Be honest.
Honesty is also the key.
Yes. So, thank you guys so much for watching.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
This is our bedtime talk. We
Yes.
appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for coming in. For the new people, welcome. I hope you enjoyed.
Hope you enjoyed.
For our family members, welcome back. Hope you had a good time. Let us know what you think about this. And until next time.
Until next time, yeah, because right now I'm going to go to sleep, and I'm going to let this bed down, and I can't have you guys watching us sleep, because that's
a little weird.
a little weird. So, yeah. Peace out.
Awkward.